areas like Werner von Braun, former SS in NASA, as a rocket scientist and head dog at NASA. They also brought over into South America a man who did dreadful mind control experimentation, and he came back into the Americas and Canada under the guise of Mr. Green, and that was Joseph Mengele. But they also brought the head of the SS intelligence, Reinhard Gehlen, into the United States, who became a big dog in the CIA and the development of mind control, MKULRA, from the Nazis' experimentations at that time. And that year was 52-53.
Now, and since then, we have, well, shall we say, higher levels of people, even in US government positions, who happen to be former, well, guinea pigs of MKUltra. And indeed, you told me that the recent presidential vice candidate, Sarah Palin.
Yes. Sarah Palin is clearly an Eastern Star Freemason, and on April 2nd, on the Alaska Archive, she announced a Freemasonic holiday to take place April 19th through April 22nd in 2008, before she suddenly appeared on the world scene, and she announced a Prince Hall Black Freemasonry holiday in the whitest state in the Union, Alaska, which is predominantly white and Native American, and the black community is a very small minority. And why would she proclaim a Prince Hall Freemasonic holiday on April the 19th, which is a satanic beginning of human sacrifice and fire festivals leading up to Walpurgis Night on the evening of April 29th, 30th, into Beltane on May 1st, when the Illuminati was founded in 1776. This is all tied in. Palin announced this Masonic holiday on that time, and April 19th was a day of human sacrifice in the 90s, because if you go back to 2003, Waco Massacre, and the word on that, who gave the last word to Janet Reno, was Hillary Clinton. And then, 2 years later, on April 19th, the Oklahoma City bombing, to justify martial law and a distraction to lead to NAFTA under the Clinton administration.
So it's by far, well, not an isolated instance, is it? I mean, do sacrifices of this nature happen relatively regularly, or are they an absolute year by year, it happens every year kind of thing?
It happens all over every year, particularly in Europe among the black nobility, who would celebrate this beginning, say, at Castle Balmoral in the UK, or among the elites in Europe, in Belgium, near Muno, at the Chateau Ameroy, which is called the Castle of the Dark Mother by some, which has a domed ceiling inside it like a planetarium, which is the 1,000 points of light that George Bush bragged about in his filthy speech in 1988.
Whoa, what's this? I've not heard this.
The 1,000 points of light is a domed ritual chamber, and the most G-rated version you would see of it would be the ritual in the movie Eyes Wide Shut with Stanley Kubrick. And that was his last movie trying to expose what was really going on among the elites.
Is that why he died so soon after it? Was he poisoned, or did he just succumb to his old age?
Stanley Kubrick died. He kept it very secretive what he was doing with Eyes Wide Shut, but when he released it, 4 days afterwards, he mysteriously died.
Scary stuff, man.
Well,
now, on top of this, we're talking about with MKUltra. There was also you were telling me about John F. Kennedy's wife. During the assassination, she was acting a little bit strangely. Could you explain why?
Yeah. MKUltra had different functions in it, and it found its way into Hollywood and the entertainment industry very quickly for a number of reasons, because a lot of MK was actually derived from Hollywood and the director's couch, among the Talmudic occult element of Hollywood. And the first public displayed MK kitten was Marilyn Monroe, followed probably by Jane Mansfield. But there were two other MK women who went a little further than just being MK kittens and sex objects in Hollywood. And one was the famous feminist Gloria Steinem, who was oddly tied to the pimp and player Hugh Hefner of Playboy. And the other CIA MK Delta was Jackie Onassis before she met JFK in the 50s. And it becomes pretty clear that she was probably subjected to early MKUltra. And probably how she met JFK was she was assigned to him.
You said that she was working for the CIA?
Yes, she was a CIA asset in the 50s. And one of my teachers would confirm that. His name was Dr. Stanley Morrell. He was a 33rd degree Freemason and rose up in the ruling hand behind Freemasonry. And the 33rd degree, you must understand, is by invitation only. Dr. Morrell was in U.S. Naval Intelligence from the years 1943 to 1955, and part of why he retired from Naval Intelligence was because he saw MKUltra coming into the intel community in the Navy, trying to grab everything that they could about hypnosis, mind control, and everything, so he bowed out.
This is... Why did you bow out? Because you were actually involved with many of these societies, and indeed you were talking about indeed a vampire cult that you were part of.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people, modern kids today, think that the vampire subculture within the Gothic community, which evolved out of that scene in the 80s, was just a kind of an offshoot of the goth community. But really, what happens if you go back and study it, the Gothic community actually evolved out of the old vampire subculture that consisted to some degree of secret societies, but among the elites where they would practice blood drinking and blood rites.
Which you participated in?
Well, yeah, you know, I kind of happened upon it accidentally in California at a point in time, and just and I discovered it. And the vampire subculture was portrayed very graphically in the 1983 movie The Hunger with David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, and Susan Sarandon, that displayed the vampire subculture that actually inspired the goth community in fashion, music, and the whole thing, where it opened with Bauhaus singing Bela Lugosi's Dead. But that was old proto-goth before goth was used to label that genre of music that came from the old vampire subculture.
Very freaky stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And beyond this, I mean, secret societies themselves, I mean, what secret societies were you part of?
Initially, at a point in time, you know, I got into the OTO because I was out there on the West Coast. And
sorry, the OTO?
The OTO stands for Ordo Templi Orientis. It was basically a splinter of the Illuminati founded in the late 1800s by Germans Theodor Reuss and Karl Kellner. And again, it was a splinter of the actual Bavarian Illuminati that had split up 9 years when it was illegalized in the 1700s. So it split off into splinters and activities. Another branch of it became the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, founded by high Freemasons MacGregor Mathers and Wynne Westcott, the doctor who was tied to Jack the Ripper in Britain and the Royals at that time in 1888. Another splinter was when the pirate and human trafficker Russell got a charter from Germany to start Lodge 322 at Yale University, the Skull and Bones.
Which George H.W. Bush, W. Bush, and also, what was his name, John Kerry were part of.
And yeah, Prescott Bush, who financed the Nazis into power. The father of George H.W. Bush.
He was, I believe, laundering money for them at a New York bank, and he was indeed prosecuted by under the Trading with the Enemy Act.
Yes, he was, but he got off because a lot of wealth buys justice in the United States. And blackmail and bribes.
Yeah.